So this week's episode of Classroom of the Elite had to throw in some interference and cause some BS to occur. So Ano Koji's class does end up losing, and it's basically due to interference. Like, that's what it's chalked up to. And what's funny was I was taking a look before I got up here, because I was just interested to see. I was like, oh man, I wonder if everyone else is a little pissed off that the interference happened. And it was really funny because there's just a bunch of chess players upset that the chess match didn't make a lot of sense. So I guess if you care about chess, I know literally jack all about chess. It's just pieces moving to me. I've never learned the game, so it's all just kind of a blur. I just take whatever happens. And I guess in this case, very similar to being an anime only and not knowing the source material, I got to enjoy the chess match a lot more because similar to source readers being saying, no, the anime's actually bad, I guess the chess match was as well because it was just very simplified, or they're doing moves that were literally the worst things you could do. Also, one thing I want to quickly add before I jump into this, we only saw one move get manipulated, so it's entirely possible all of the moves that they were making at the end with Ano Koji involved could have been altered. So whether or not that's true, if you are upset by maybe the game not making too much sense, that's probably one way to maybe not be too upset if the chess match was a little sloppy. For me, what came down to the BS was the fact that this man had to interfere because if they were in person, this never would have happened, but because when they took over to tell them where to move, the commands could read differently on their screen with a little interference, which is ultimately what cost them the game. But, as we see after the credits, we get to see how it would have went down if it would have actually went according to his directions, which would have been a victory. But when you have protection points and everything else like that, it kind of leads to things happening in ways that no one can really quite expect or care for. And it just honestly, it was a good episode. Like, you can't ignore the fact that it was fast-paced, but in a lot of ways, what was fast-paced about it doesn't really bother me because, like, all those, like, written tests and stuff, I really don't care about. I think we got to see a bit with the basketball, which was nice. I would have preferred seeing a bit more of the archery, and the chess game was fun, especially knowing that I don't know anything about chess. And, you know, there definitely was, you can tell it was kind of speeding by things similar to the track and field, what was it, the track and field day? I think that was also pretty fast-paced, but at the same time, like, a lot of that I don't really care about seeing. And the big thing I wanted to see was more with, especially Arisu and Ano Koji, and everything they did with the White Room was really exhilarating. I do have a full live reaction, though, to this week's episode of Classroom of the Elite over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full and good thoughts to this episode or any of these episodes, it's over there if you're interested. Now, first things first, the White Room stuff. The White Room stuff was really good. I mean, when you start an episode and you're skipping the opening, you know you're in for some crazy things. And we kind of get to see, you know, a bit more and really some clarity on Arisu as a character. It doesn't change the fact that this man's building a harem whether he likes it or not. Like, by the end of the episode, I mean, it's crystal clear, like, this man has a harem whether he wants it or not. But the idea of, you know, these artificial geniuses and the White Room was trying to build, I mean, the dad was an absolute piece of garbage. I mean, don't give him any special treatment just because he's my son. Like, it's just, you pretty much, like, this is the type of dude who would have given you a dog, shot the dog in front of you and said, don't get connected. That's the vibes I get from that guy. And the idea that, you know, you start the first scene of this episode with him playing chess in the White Room, to then, by the end of this exam, playing chess, the thing that she's basically wanted since she first laid eyes on Ano Koji, and how sad of an existence she pretty much thought his life was, and the fact that, you know, her father figure was completely different than Ano Koji's. The idea of, like, wanting to defeat, but also proved the fact that it's okay to let people in, which was really the big thing about after the credits. It was kind of like the actual chess master, again, going exactly the way it was. Talks about how it's like, you know, it's okay to let people in. And then, I don't know, there was something nice about that, because a character who's always had my suspicions and my skeptical energy towards her, by the end of this episode, I'm just like, you know, she might be one of my favorite female characters in this show. Like, I think Horikita's still number one for me, but, like, everything she's offered, especially in this season in particular, has been really, really exhilarating, and I like her addition to the story a lot more than initially I thought. I mean, for a while, I kind of wanted her expelled. Now I'm like, I want to see where she goes from here. And I like what they did because they didn't really waste too much time or let the White Room stuff linger for too long. Immediately when they transition back to present day, you want to see more of that. So then when they do give you a little more taste, a little more extra in the mid portion of the episode, it feels warranted. You know, it's good to leave the viewers wanting more than let the White Room stuff drag out, kind of piece together a little bit as it goes. And it was really good. The first thing we get to see is basketball, which was nice because we did get to see a little strategy there, which was appreciated. So the idea that, you know, our class was winning like 3 points ahead or something, I think it was like 8-5, something like that. And Ido Koji steps in and swaps out one of the members for a stronger member, which is interesting because, you know, they're winning, they don't really need to do anything. But clearly the play was that, you know, it was going to let the timer go down pretty close to nothing, and then the other class was going to absolutely hammer them when they least expected because they were holding back. So, you know, it was a good play overall, and Ido Koji immediately saw through all the BS. And then there was a bunch of different written tests. There was like a typing test, you know, just different things. One of the ones that was very fun was I think it was mental math is what they called it. It's never not going to be funny to see this man just not give a shit. Like, he's just sitting there with his eyes closed, he's vibing, man. He has no interest in this at all, and honestly, it's hilarious. It can be, I imagine I'd be pulling my hair out if I was one of these characters, but as a viewer, it's just funny and out of pocket, and I really appreciate it. Now, the chess game, I like what they did. Didn't understand what was happening. I mean, I'm just going off of what the characters are saying. Was that good? Was that bad? And like I said, apparently it was a very poorly optimized chess match. If you know anything about chess, is what it is. I mean, that's not going to bother me personally because I don't play the game, but I can understand why people would be like, wait, so this is like, you know, some white room genius and I'm clearly more intelligent at chess than him. I'm questioning the education system. At this point, I would just chalk it up to, like, you just kind of have to suspend your sense of disbelief and understand that most likely in a written form, the chess match was easier to get away with than in seeing it in visualization in terms of an anime. So yeah, like, would it be better if they, you know, got some professional chess player to, like, map out the match? Probably, but it is what it is. If this was like a chess anime specifically, I would understand that complaint, but for me it's like we barely are going to see chess anyway, so it's kind of is what it is. But I do get the frustration I saw some people point out. For me, I just didn't know what the hell was happening. It was looking like we were going to win, then it looked like we were going to lose, and then both of them tapped in giving the commands. And when it was revealed that he lost, I was just like, I was kind of stumped, right? Because I'm like, it's Ido Koji. Like, it's not even just that he's the main character. I just don't see people beating him at chess. Like, that was the specific reason. And when this douchebag, this douche nozzle pops up being like, ho ho ho, why didn't you say any? It's like the fact that you had these little scumbags changing the commands that Horikita would see. It's just like, why? Why are you like this? I was just expecting him, just for shits and giggles, to kick her over and then to throw our boy against the wall again. Like, that's the type of vibe I was getting, but it is what it is. I also quite like the music placement throughout the episode. There's about 2 or 3 points that just, like, the music they were playing for a good 1 or 2 minutes at a time, just, it really captured a vibe that kind of made it feel exciting, but also you kind of, the hairs on your arms were standing up just a little because you were a little concerned, if not getting nauseous on where it was going to go. But either way, this episode was some bullshit. We lost because of interference, which is infuriating. It's probably going to be infuriating to chess players because apparently the match makes no sense. But as an episode, despite it probably feeling rushed, I mean, we had to have skipped a lot of things, but I think what we skipped was okay for me. But I could also tell that maybe seeing a bit more on the archery side would have been nice, and maybe even a little more on the basketball and stuff like that. The written test I could give no shits about, like, that's okay skipping over. But overall, I enjoyed this episode, and I'm excited to see where they're gonna go, because I didn't expect how they're gonna wrap it up. So let me know what you're feeling down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring the bell so you get notified when I upload more, and like I mentioned, we have that full live reaction over on my Patreon. Hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Jun Liu, Jessica L. Compton, Hino Kaga, Kovix Adam, Ishta, and Mauve. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.